We're following all of the drama, and there is a lot playing out in the New York courtroom where former President Trump is on trial. Former aide Hope Hicks is on the stand right now. She has told the jury, she began by telling the jury she's nervous. At one point here just moments ago, she actually cried, and the judge took a break. Moments ago, she came back onto the stand after a few minutes away, and she said this while describing former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, quote, "He liked to call himself a fixer or Mr. Fix-It, and it was only because he first broke it that he was able to then fix it." She laughed after saying that. Joining me now is jury consultant Alan Tuerkheimer. Alan, I'm curious what you think. I just described that moment to you where Hope Hicks is being extremely critical of Michael Cohen. On the flip side, moments before, she had described former President Trump telling her that Cohen had made these payments basically out of the goodness of his heart, but that she didn't find Cohen to be very charitable. So she seemed to be casting doubt on whether that would be true, that this was just Michael Cohen entirely acting independently on this. And she seemed to cry on the stand after saying that. How does a jury look at these kind of mixed messages that they're getting from someone who, on one hand, is being very critical of Michael Cohen, and then on the other hand, appears to be, saying things that aren't helpful to Trump?
Immediately, this is a poignant moment, and I think jurors are going to appreciate her sincerity, that she was genuine. They like that she said that she gets nervous, that she is nervous. Jurors can appreciate when a witness levels with them to that extent, and so I think that they're going to remember that. And maybe even on a break, they might have looked at each other. They're not allowed to talk about the case, but they probably thought, wow, that was kind of a key moment. But at the end of the day, this is a witness in the middle of the trial, the middle of the prosecution's case. The jurors remember the opening statements. The prosecution used some pretty charged words, orchestrated, schemed, tried to corrupt the election. Then the defense got up there and said, there's nothing to see here. This shouldn't have been charged. It's not against the law to try to influence the election. So their job is to take away what the key pieces of the testimony are, and then when closing arguments happen, the lawyers are going to connect the dots for them. So I think she was a good witness for the prosecution. I think the jurors, it sounds like they're pretty riveted by her testimony, but it's certainly a much bigger piece of the puzzle. And it'll be very interesting, since the stage is being set, for how credible the jury is going to think Michael Cohen is when he takes a stand.
Yeah, that was really my next question for you, because she's not alone in saying very unfavorable things about Michael Cohen. That has come up time and again. How does that affect how the jury may see what Michael Cohen says? And how does that normally happen, where you have someone who appears to be unliked and unsavory, and yet can a jury still find them credible?
They certainly can. If the prosecution's going to remind the jury that he's under oath, and probably remind him what would happen if he wasn't telling the truth, he'll say he's telling the truth. So I think if he's a smooth talker, not smooth in the disingenuous, glib sense, but if he speaks plain English, if he tells everything that he knows, I think there's still a good chance that they're going to believe his testimony. They might not like him. They might think he's kind of a dirtbag, and that when he was involved in the underworld of Trump, he got sucked into it and maybe initiated a lot of the schemes and plans that were a little unsavory. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to go into it very skeptical. Now, they're going to be wanting him to earn their trust in a sense, but I still think he has a chance to tell the truth, and that his testimony might end up being embraced by the panelists.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see. Alan, so helpful to get your insights. Thank you.
Thanks, Brianna.